Today on In the Woodyard, it's a wet, miserable, cold, damp, rainy day. So we're going inside and we're gonna do some saw work. We're gonna change some saw chains and sharpen some chains. Here we go. It is raining cats and dogs and thunder, lightning, the whole work. So today's not a day to be outside, so I'm heading back inside. It's only the early afternoon and it's already getting really dark out and it's thundering like crazy out there. It's coming towards us. So I decided to come in today. So that is what we're gonna do. I have this saw right here, which is the saw that I used when I cut the stumps out on the video you saw a while ago. So this chain is down to just nubs, what was nubs when I started. So we're gonna put a new one on. And after that, then I've got a buddy saw here that he dropped off for me. It's a Husqvarna 55. I think you can see that in there. And his son's ruined it basically. So I'm gonna do some work on that and see if I can get it to run and sharpen the chain or change the chain and just see what I can do to get it to work. So that's what's happening today. So we're getting to work right now. Well, we are back inside now, away from the thunder, lightning, and rain that we're getting today, which we needed. It's been a couple weeks since we had a decent rain. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna change a chain out here, and then I'm gonna sharpen a chain and do some work on a saw that a buddy of mine brought. And first thing I'm gonna talk about is the chain that I use, because I get asked this on the channel all the time. That's the chain. It is the Husqvarna H47, and those are the numbers on the top. I think you guys can see it. It's the 0.50 or 0.050 drive length, the 3/8, and so yeah. That's it, 84 links. That's the one I use, and it works great. I've tried lots of different chains. I use the Oregon occasionally. This is the Oregon version, same thing, it's just that it's an Oregon chain, but same everything. It's there. That's the E84. It's a nice chain too. It works just as good. I really don't know if there's much difference. I'm not a real techno weenie when it comes to the different chains and the cutting on it. All I know is it works, and I know there's guys that do different filing to do the square filing versus the round filing, and they get a different effect as far as how fast it cuts. I know this works good for me, but anyway, I buy these in bulk, and I'm done. This is my last one that I bought almost 2 years ago now, because and I've bought some since then. I bought some Oregon ones, and I've bought a few more of these. Because when I went to the last logging show, the logging congress or logging expo, I think it's called, it's up in Escanaba this year. I'm going to be there. You should come. Kenny's coming too. We're going to be there for a couple days. And so usually I buy the stuff there because you get a really good deal. And when we buy our supplies up there, you get them at a great discount. So your chains, normally, like retail on this chain, you would pay somewhere between 25 and 30 bucks, and at the show you get it for like 15. Same with the bar oil. The mix oil, and you get bar oil there too. Files, bars, things like that. I need to get a couple new bars, and the bars there generally are, well, I would say a good 30% less than what you pay retail. So if you've got a bar that you're paying 80 bucks for, you can get it for like 50, 55 bucks, something like that. If you get a $100 bar, you're going to end up paying 60, 70, something like that. So you save some pretty good money. So we usually buy stuff in bulk. So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to be there this year. It's coming up pretty darn soon too, up in Escanaba, Michigan. The Logging Expo, I think is what it's called. So look it up online, get the dates, and we're going to be there. It'll be cool. Lots of cool equipment, a lot of good vendors, a lot of really good people, a lot of professional loggers. So that's kind of neat. You get to see that stuff. So we're going to be there. So I think what we're going to do now is I'm going to take this old crappy nub little chain. I mean, I don't think I could cut myself if I tried with it. And we're going to put a new one on. That's what's going to happen right now. Okay, so I just went and looked it up online so I give you guys the right information. It is September 9th through the 11th, so pretty darn soon. It's in Escanaba, Michigan. That's on the UP, and that's at the State Fairgrounds. So very soon, you should go. It'll be fun. And I was thinking while I was looking up the actual date of when the expo is going to happen, I was thinking the saw that I got at that convention was this saw. This one right here, this 572, is one that I bought at that convention. And I did pay right around like $750 instead of the $950, whatever it costs if you buy it retail. So it's worth it to go if you've got something, you know, big to purchase. I mean, there's big equipment there. There's a lot of, you know, the professional loggers equipment. There's everything. I mean, they got everything. They got big equipment, and it's cool to see. So, and I think that if you go one of the nights, I think Ponzi is one of the major sponsors usually every year. They have a big feed they put on with tons of food and music. And the music last time was the Steven Seagulls. So I don't know if they're going to be there this year, but they were there last time and they were awesome. If you want to look up a cool band, look up the Steven Seagulls. They do a version of Thunderstruck that's awesome. So if you haven't seen it, it's a cool video. So I'm going to get busy on this puppy. So I don't know if this is going to be too bright having this, my work light here. Usually I have it like this, but I got to have some light here to be able to see what I'm doing, because the light that I have on the room light back there is not quite enough for this. But yeah, this I can just tell it's just gritty. It's because it's got dirt and sand and all kinds of nastiness in here. I think you guys are aiming pretty good here. So yeah, this chain is shot, and the bar is pretty much shot too. Holy smokes. Must have had Paul Bunyan put that baby on there. She was on tight. Well, look at the junk that's falling out here. It's like dirt and sawdust. I got to clean this thing up. Clean it out a little bit. So I usually wear gloves when I do this, because I've had my wrench come off and I've punched the chain. I'm sure you guys have done that. And you rake your knuckles. Now, this has the keepers on here, the keeper nuts, and I like them and I hate them. What I like about it is you don't lose them. What I hate about it, you got to get them just right so they don't catch. See, like there, it's catching. You got to get them so they're like partially off. There you go, and it comes off. Because if they catch just a little bit of the thread, you sit there and you fight the dang thing. So anyway, that is pretty dirty inside. So I'll show you a close-up of this chain here. Let's get it off. So I don't know if you guys will be able to see this, but I'm going to roll this up so you can see it. But look at, compared to my finger, what a nub that is. Here, I'll show you compared to the new chain, the difference. And then this one was one that I wasn't cutting wood with this. This was just for cutting a stump. But here's the new chain. And there's the old one. See the difference in the teeth? How much shorter that is? Because once you get down close to this line here, you're kind of wasting time. Once you get past, I think about 2/3 is what I would say, you're kind of wasting time. You're not making very good cuts anymore. So, and that's what a lot of these chains are that I have. I'll move this up here. I've got a whole wall full of chains here, you can see. And I've got a whole pile of chains over here, you can see. So I got a whole pile and just hang them up there. And I kind of save those just for when I got to do like a stump job, or if I got to cut something for somebody where they want a stump cut low in their yard. I'll slap one of those chains on, so I'm not using one of my good ones. And I don't use them very often, but anyway, there you go. So the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to clean up this bar a little bit here. Going to take some of the crapola off of it, because it's pretty nasty. And this is always pretty messy here where I work on this stuff. And I'm not going to really dress it or anything. I'm just going to get the most of it. So I usually just run my, yeah, there's nothing in there that much. Usually you can just use your scrunch and clean it out. There's a little bit up here, but not much. Before I forget, I'm going to do this right away, because this is something people ask me about all the time. And yes, I do. One guy asked me in a channel not long ago, someone, I don't know, he must be a guy that's new to the chainsaws or whatever, but he wanted to know if I greased the sprocket up front. If I put any grease in there, if I oiled it. And he thought, do you get enough oil? He asked me if you get enough oil just from your bar oil. And yeah, you get some, but that hole right there is made for putting grease in. So I usually just give it a couple squirts until it starts to come out. As soon as I start to see it kind of pop out here, yeah, and I can see it, I'll give it one more shot. It won't hurt. There you go. So I'll give it a few squirts. And I do that either like, you know, every other time I sharpen it or whatever. So the next thing that happens is you've got to find out Well, first you got to straighten your chain out here. So there, the chain is sharp or straight now. So the first thing I do when I'm putting a new chain on, see if I can turn this so you guys can see, I think you can, is I know that I want my bar now to read right side up, because it was upside down. I kind of go every other one when I put a new chain on. I flip them around, sometimes even before that. So I'm just going to hang this on here, and then I'm going to look to see to make sure I got it going the right direction. So there, I hung it on the tip, and yeah, this bar is getting pretty worn. Okay, so, okay, I'm an idiot. Try that again. That was the old chain. We don't want the old chain. We want the new chain. That's what we want. So I think I got it right. I'm just gonna grab it. I'll set it on here. Here we go. Okay, so yep, it's. I am wrong. It is on right backwards. So I gotta flip it the other direction here, because I want it to be able to be read right side up this time. So what you got to do is you just got to look at your teeth and make sure your teeth on the bottom is the bottom now, facing backwards. So that's about it. And all you do is just line them up. This is for you guys that have done this 1,000 times. It's no big deal. But then what I do is I hang on to this end. I just flip it upside down like this and hang on, and then I kind of line up the chain to go in, and just kind of hang it here, and then I just slide it in. I keep a little tension on it, obviously. There's people that can do this like in seconds, but I don't do it that often. So there it is. It's on. Okay, so the next thing I do, keeping it tight, I'm going to tip it like this, still keeping it tight, tip this on its side. And before I do that, I suppose I better wipe this out just a smidge here. Actually, it's not too bad. It's been much dirtier than this. That's because I cleaned it out. I remember just before I quit cutting. So we're going to slide this on. And the main thing is get it back on the sprocket all the way. Here we go. Because it's real easy for that to pop off when you're tightening and working with the getting it on there. So make sure that's snug back here. And then you go to pop your cover back on. And you always have to loosen this back up because it's been pulled tight from tensioning the chain with old chains, because they do what they do and you need to tighten them. So I slapped it in, and then I go back the other direction, tighten it, and then I start working on the nuts. And it's really simple. But yeah, putting a new chain on is awesome, because they cut quite a bit better than old chains. Usually my first thought is when I put a new chain on, it's like, oh, I should have did that a while ago. So then I put my gloves back on, because now I'm going to test it here and make sure I'm on the sprocket before I tighten it the rest of the way. Yeah, we're good. Oh, it's really loose. Hopefully I'm still on the sprocket. I better look in the back to be sure. Oh, I think it came off is what it did. Let's just see. No, we're good yet. There we go. I just didn't have it tight into the back. Now we're going to tighten it up a little bit. And yes, I have pink tape on this for a reason. If I drop it in the woods, I can find it. Here we go. So now we should be good. Yep, we're good. So now I'm going to tension it to get it to, that's not bad. Where is it? When I first put it on, I go pretty tight, like I'm sure a lot of you do too. I go pretty darn tight when I first put a chain on. And the reason I do that is they loosen up when you first start cutting quite a bit. The first couple sharpenings, I don't know if they stretch or the links just tighten up from when they're manufactured. But I go pretty darn tight with the first time. There we go. Yeah, that's tight. There we go. Done. It's that simple. Now, the next thing I'm going to do, just because I've got it in here and I haven't checked it in a while, I'm going to pop the cover off here. And I'm going to check the air filter. So I think I cleaned it like not too long ago, actually. Yeah, it doesn't look bad at all, but I'll take it off anyway. And this is kind of how I do my hillbilly fix of my air filter when I first take it off. Yeah, it's not bad. And it's pretty new. This is a fairly new filter. You can tell the color is good. There's just a little bit of powder in there, not much at all. So we'll get on there anyway. Guess I got to put it on the right direction. There we go. There we go. And we'll snap this back on. Make sure it's seated all the way, because a lot of times it doesn't. And you just clip it back in. There, so that one's done. And now we're going to bring out the old 55. So here, this is a buddy of mine. I cut wood on his land a lot. He's got an 18-inch bar on here, a little bitty thing. But he doesn't really cut too much. I've probably used this saw more than he has. And but it's a nice little saw. It's a 55cc Husqvarna. Let's see if I can get this where you guys can see here again. Let's just see. That should be pretty good. So there it is. I don't know what year these came out. I suppose there might be a lot of times there's a label on there with the serial number and stuff. I don't see it anymore. It's got peeled off. So maybe it's on the inside. So anyway, I am going to sharpen it first. Yeah, because you can see it's got, they must have cut like some rocks or something. Not very sharp. So we'll check it out here. So for those of you that have not seen me sharpen before, I can use a file. I know how to use a file. I can sharpen with a file, but I'm not going to use a file. I'm going to use the fast way. I use my Dremel, and I've got several of them. I've got a big one back here, got a 4300, and then I got an older one, and I got this one, the 3000. I also have a battery pack one, which I use, which I'll grab. It's right over here. Over on the side, it is in my gold pack. It's an 8100. That's this one right here. It's has a battery pack that I can take with me, and it just charges right on this mount over here, so I can charge it every time I come back. I usually get about 3 sharpenings out of it, but today we're going to use this electric cord one here, so we're going to sharpen, and I'll show you how I do it. So when I sharpen, this is the most important thing. I wear safety glasses, and yes, they have the magnifiers, the cheaters on there. I think these are like plus 1.5 or something. So I wear these, and yes, I have pink tape on these, so when I drop them in the woods I can find them. And then I wear earmuffs because it's a little loud. And then I wear gloves because I'm going to be hanging on to a very sharp chain in a very short while here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to mark a tooth. I'm going to mark this one right here. I just use a Sharpie, a red one. So I mark that tooth so I know that's where I started. And the sharpening is going to happen right now. I just got to get this in a spot where you guys can see and I can actually work. That's the hard part. I don't know if that's going to work, but we're going to give it a try. I got to kind of reach around 3 different things here. So here we go. And this is about how fast it goes. I'm just going to sharpen. And I'm going to do one side. Actually, I do both sides at the same time. So I'll try to show you how I do that as I go here. So here we go. Yeah, that's going to be hard. Okay, it's not done yet, and I made that little mark so I remember where I left off. I've got to show you this the way I usually do it because this is just too hard for me to do because I got to reach around the camera, and it's probably not good for you guys for viewing, so I'm going to do this the way I normally do, and I'll give you guys I don't know, just a different angle. I'm going to shoot kind of just from this side. Because when I sharpen, I have it like right up against the vise here. It just works a lot better. So we're going to give this a try and see what happens. So I think we should be good there. I can start over again. So I left off on this tooth right here. So I usually go right up to the tip like this where I'm hanging on. Then I'll do this whole section, then I'll slide it again. There, she's all done. So yeah, they definitely hit something metal because this one tooth back here I went over a couple times. There was an actual gouge in the middle of it that went in a good 32nd of an inch. I mean, it was a gouge. Oh yeah, now it's sharp. Much sharper. So now I'm going to check the rakers or the depth gauges here. And I have a depth gauge tool that I use for that. I just lay it across, and it's not too bad actually. Yeah, they come down just a smidge. They can just start to feel it there. So I just check a few of them. That way I know I'm going to take, and this I just do old school with a file. And you'll see how I do this. It's no big deal. I'm going to start on the same tooth. So right here's our red tooth. And I just push away. I'm just going to give it 2 strokes. Boy, it's like smooth. Huh. And then we go every other one. Well, it's not working so good. Yeah, these are like, not like regular rakers. I can just tell it's like a double. Whoops, wrong one. Yeah, I'm not taking much off at all, just barely touching it. It didn't need much, but a little bit won't hurt. You just don't want to overdo it and end up with 7 or 8 or even 9 fingers. Or worse. There, I think that's good. Now we'll go the other direction. This is the one that's a little harder, so I got to spin the whole saw around now. And then I'm going to go back to, I'm going to get you guys a little closer here. So that's the one I started on, so I'm going to start on this one. This I like to push right down and lock it right down to the table, or to the bench like this. little story about this. This friend of mine, his boys have never run a chainsaw before, and they wanted to do some trimming or something, I guess. They were trimming bushes, and they were trying to cut it right down to the ground, and I guess they cut some stones. Well, the bad thing is they didn't use bar oil. They just put oil, like engine oil in, real thick, heavy engine oil, which I'm sure probably would work. So they did that, and then he didn't think they had mixed oil. He thinks mixed gas. He thinks they just put in regular gas. So we'll see what happens. I got it to turn over when I pulled it once there, so maybe it's not bad. So what I did is I dumped everything out that they had in there, and here's the last one. There we go. So that's all done. There, that's done. Take all this off, and oh yeah, much sharper, much better now. So now let's see if we can get it to start. Okay, so I'm gonna see if we can get it to go. Not going outside. I'm just gonna start it right in here and just open the door if it starts. I got it to fart when I just tried it once, so we'll see what happens here. So let's see, I gotta remember. Okay, so it's got an on switch, it's got a choke, and I think that's it. Oop. How about that? There we go. So that's good, because they could not get it to start, and he couldn't get it to start. I got the fart before, so it's working again. Because he told me, he said, if you can't get it to work, he said, toss it. But no, I got it fixed for him again, so he's got a chainsaw again. So there it is. I got it fixed. It's got it sharpened, got it to run. Cleaned it out. See how when I took it out, I dumped everything. I let everything dump and drain and air out, and then I put good gas into it, put the right kind of oil into it, and got it cleaned out, so it's good to go again. So I don't know. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it because it's not mine. I got it to run. They can go from there, and I did it for free. So anyway, I think that's it for today, folks. I think I got my new chain put on. I got this one sharpened up, and tomorrow I'm going to be back in the wood yard because it's supposed to quit raining sometime tonight, and tomorrow's supposed to be a pretty decent day, so I'm going to be able to work outside tomorrow. Hopefully I get a bunch done. So tomorrow you should come on back. I'll be outside working. You should come on back. It'll be fun. It always is. Between now and then, get outside, get cutting. Good night, Irene.